When the world's too dark of a place to be, and you need an escape from reality, open up those pages, it's sci-fi or fantasy, whatever genre you please. And join a book club, cause you won't read it on your own. Join a book club, so you'll be held accountable. It's just a means to an end, but you're doing it with your friends, so join the book club by DLC.
Hello there, book clubbers. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're dancing in your seat. We're finishing a book this week. That's always a fun thing. I'm Jeff Kanata here with Lana Bashinsky. Hi, Lana.
Hello and good morning. Different feeling book experience, a faster book experience, always satisfying to finish a book. Always love hitting that last page. Really happy to be here.
Yeah, me too. Me too. It's going to be fun. We're going to wrap up The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. And then, not sure exactly what's next. I'm on vacation. It's my kids' spring break next week. So we're going to take a week off for sure. I have reached out to Becky Chambers' people, hoping that we can work out speaking with her about A Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. That would be awesome. We shall see. And then after that, Lana and I need to talk. Maybe we'll throw up another poll. We'll figure out what is next for the book club, but we'll keep trucking along. The big, most pertinent information there is that no show next week. So don't expect a show that next week, but we got a lot to get into this week. We love to start with a non-spoiler topic so that if you're not caught up with the reading, you can still hang out and talk books and all kinds of fun stuff with us. And the best ones, the best topics are sent in by you to dlcfeedback@gmail.com. We got a great one to that very email address this week. It comes from Andrew, who says, I wanted to get your thoughts on a hot topic in the fantasy and sci-fi community, gatekeeping. I'll admit that when I was younger, I was guilty of it. I grew up religiously reading Marvel Comics and watching the animated shows. So when the MCU exploded in the 2010s, it was sometimes hard not to feel a little resentment toward what I saw as casual fans. I've definitely matured since then, and now I actually enjoy seeing the franchises I love reach mainstream popularity. Still, gatekeeping seems to remain a big source of toxicity in many fandoms. Jeff, you've mentioned that you read the entire A Song of Ice and Fire series before Game of Thrones aired. Well, Dance with Dragons had not come out yet, but up to that point I had, yes. Did you consider yourself a devoted fan after reading the books? And if so, what was it like when the show suddenly made the series a global phenomenon? Were there any other franchises you feel like you got in on the ground floor of? Lana, same question for you. Is there a franchise you loved when it was still relatively niche that later exploded in popularity? How did that change your experience of the fandom? And finally, do you have any advice for fans who sometimes struggle with gatekeeping when their favorite series becomes mainstream? Look forward to hearing your thoughts. Thanks, Andrew. Thank you, Andrew, for writing in. It's a fun, I don't know fun, but it's an interesting topic, certainly. And something that I've definitely, I don't know if struggled with is the right word, but I've definitely felt the push of that feeling. I knew the band when they were doing the small clubs, and now they're doing stadiums, and all you people don't know what it was like when no one had heard of them, that kind of thing. So Lana, what have you had that experience?
I've had that experience, but very, very limited. When I think about the franchises that I like, I'm like, what is the absolute opposite of gatekeeping in maybe an equally unpleasant way? Is my attitude towards it, i.e. Survivor. I talk about it so much. That show, it doesn't need my help.
Franchise,
it has
indeed.
50 seasons. Okay. Season 50 just started a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
I love that show. And anybody who will listen to me talk about it for a really long time to be like, oh, sit down, buckle in. It's a quick 3-hour sales pitch. We're going to watch a couple first episodes and let's get cooking. That's the space I typically operate in. It is the unpleasant salesperson for franchises that people probably there's basically every time people are like, there's a better version of that. And I'm like, shut up. You don't know anything. So that's probably the most common way I experience it. The times experiencing it growing up, I had two very odd ones where all of my friends, they were both book related, funnily enough, all of my friends at some point were reading, I'm not even going to be able to get the book series name. I want to say they were Laurel K. Hamilton books. They were vampire books. And everybody was reading them, constantly talking about the characters and how cute they were and blah, 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 whatever it was. But all of my friends, for whatever reason, unanimously was like, but Lana, you can't read these books. You specifically are not allowed to read these books. And it wasn't gatekeeping, like, because like they don't want the fandom to get too big and one person too many. I've never talked to them about it. We're still friends to this day, but the books weren't for me. I wasn't supposed to read them. They just thought that they would damage me in some way.
Is this Anita Blake Vampire Hunter?
Yes. Anita Blake. The name Anita Blake. So
more like I need a break.
Hell, am I right, folks? But for real, though, it was the strangest thing. Eventually, I went, of course, just like rented one from the library, read it, and was like, it was a totally fine book. I don't know what would damage me. I don't know why I was.
They were trying to protect you from the vampires? Is that the idea?
I, to this day, don't know.
That's very funny.
The only other time it was from the other side. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
The only time it was from the other side was I had to gatekeep whatever I was reading because I had a pal, no matter what. I guess it's not gatekeeping. It's just me like hiding books. Would like find out what I was reading, look up the synopsis, and spoil it for me as like a fun gag.
That's
very
not a friend.
Obnoxious.
Yeah.
But those books, I think about it as like a gatekeepy swirl of me having to be like, don't look at what I'm doing. And the most memorable one was Ender's Game, which then later became the films, which
they did make
again, I never felt like I was gatekeeping anything, but I felt like the books were gatekeeping a quality experience from people who watch the movies only. So
wow.
It's hard to not. Is that the spicy way to phrase that? It's just, that was probably the only time where I was like, you don't know like how good these books are. You don't know.
If you're judging by the movie, they're terrible. It's terrible. But the book,
But again, it was more like so go do it. Please go do the thing.
Lana's the opposite of a gatekeeper. You're like a gate usherer. You're a gate
opener,
pusher,
the welcomer. I just kick gates down and go, get in here.
Yeah. Interesting. That's cool. I love that about you. And that's one of the things that is so wonderful about you. To do the quick Song of Ice and Fire story, maybe folks that are listening to this have never heard it. Maybe you've never heard it. I got super into A Song of Ice and Fire. And this is, I don't even know what year, early 2000s. And I was doing a show called The Totally Rad Show that I hosted with Alex Albrecht and Dan Trachtenberg. Dan Trachtenberg, folks might know now as a extremely successful big-time Hollywood director, still one of my best friends. And he just directed Predator Badlands. He directed Prey and 10 Cloverfield Lane. Awesome guy, incredibly talented, visionary director, exploding because he's earned it. It's amazing. It's just amazing. However, at that time, I had read an announcement that HBO had optioned the rights to A Song of Ice and Fire, which is a series that I had just finished reading, and I was so excited about it. And I said, Dan, about to become a big-time Hollywood director, they're making this, my beloved book series, into a television show at HBO, of all places. Prestige television. And Dan says to me, he says, Jeff, it's never going to happen. It's never gonna happen. But I was like, but the Hollywood Reporter said they're optioning it. No, Jeff, no, it's not never going to. Are you kidding me? No. He said a thing that is actually very true. forgive the language, but I have used it many times subsequently. He said to me very wise words, most shit doesn't happen. That's what he said, which is true.
Mm-hmm.
But I've never let him forget that not only did it happen, but it became like the biggest TV show on the planet. So I was pretty smug in when that came to pass. And I was like, well, big time Hollywood director Dan Trachtenberg. Never going to happen, huh? Never going to happen? Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, even if you wanted to feel gatekeepy about it, you're like, oh, one more person watching it? Oh, that's so interesting, Dan.
Yeah. Oh,
Dan? More people getting in here.
The biggest series on television.
Sweet. That's so sweet. It's like that's like as sweet as like a 360-degree spinning monster truck. Sweet. That's how it feels. Feels so good. Feels so
cut,
good.
Man, dropping deep cuts. But yes, when the uppance has come.
Yeah.
Anyway, I mean, I think I also have, the Marvel Comics thing, because I grew up reading Marvel Comics, and there's a lot of stuff like that. I'm old and I'm a child of the 80s, and, literally everything I was into has become the biggest thing in the world. But when I was into it, like video games, my first job when I was 14 was writing a column in the newspaper reviewing video games. And at that time, it was basically an advertisement to kick my ass. It was, hey, look at the dork reviewing the video games in the newspaper. And so I got picked on for that stuff. And now it's the coolest thing ever. So, you can't gatekeep. And I think the advice is, there is a nerd impulse, I think, that is uniquely nerdy to claim ownership of a thing and be like, I love it so much that I love it more than you. And my identity is built around my love for this thing, and I care about it so intensely. It's so close to who I am and what I love and what I believe in and what matters to me, that you can't possibly understand with your Johnny-come-lately love for it. But the actual joy in the liking of the thing, as we can attest doing this show, is the sharing of the love of the thing. So that would be my advice for fans that Andrew's asking for, who struggle with gatekeeping, is, open your arms and welcome people in, because then you get to have the fun discussions and you can share with them your maybe deeper history with a thing. And high fives are great. Yeah.
And if you know all the things and that makes you feel like you deserve it more, you get to be the elder fan. And that's like right. A fun, you can still claim the title of elder if that's what it is, but
yeah,
let the young ones be educated in the ways of the good stuff.
That's right. Bring in the Padawans. Anyway, also, if anybody wants to, never mind. I was going to say. I was going to say something I shouldn't say, which is, if anybody wants to message Dan and rub it in, don't do that. Don't do that.
It's out there now, idea. Baby. What's his email? Well, I'll get his email after this.
He's Dan
at bighollywooddirector.com.
That's exactly right. Bighollywooddirector.org. Really? It's very odd.
.org. Oh, it's a government sponsored situation.
All right, let's get into it. We got a book to finish. Spoilers starting now for the end of The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. We are starting at chapter 17. They're not numbered in this book, but it is titled Heresy. Why you laugh? I
laugh because I'm like, I every week we make the title cards and I put the chapter numbers. I'm like, is this helpful for people? Do I have to go back to the table of contents and go 1, 2, 3?
This could be a fun non-spoiler topic at some point. Is I love titled chapters. I love them. I love a titled chapter. I don't like when it's just like chapter 20, chapter 7, chapter 8.
Yeah,
that's fine. demarcation is demarcation, but I love a titled chapter.
There's
I do, however,
there's a
prefer
vibe.
both. I want the number as well.
Yeah, because it's easier to be able to say, "Oh, I think I'm around chapter 4."
Yeah.
When you're
I'm on Heresy.
talking to somebody
Where
about
is
it.
that? I don't know. Anyway, that's 17. So Heresy, we start off with Kizzy, who comes running into Ashby's office and says, "I need a new thermal regulator." Thermal regulator. That's my 3PO. The thermal regulator is broke. They're out in the middle of nowhere.
Classic.
They need they need this tech. They need to stop somewhere and get some tech. Luckily, they have spotted on the scan that there is a fringe colony out here. It's pretty wild, this notion of a rogue planet. This is a planet that is inhabited but doesn't even orbit a star. There's no sun warming this planet. It's an artificially warmed planet. They have satellites that provide the light and heat for the planet. Really cool sci-fi notion, I thought.
Very cool sci-fi notion, especially because it wasn't that the whole planet was lit. There's like a spotlight of heat from a satellite and the colonies in the spotlight where the satellite is. I liked that as how you could try to construct something. It's not like, and there's like a shell around it of UV bulbs. That little, it's like, no, they made the little patch that they needed, and that's what they got.
That's it. Yeah, evidently in this world, or in this universe, very advanced tech. So they're like, well, who could be out here? What's going on with this fringe colony? Well, they get them up on the scanners, or they get them up, not scanners, on the, the view screen.
Comms,
they reach out, the comms. That's what I wanted. And they find out it's cyanat species.
Cyanat solos. What is it called?
Solos. Solidarity.
Solitude.
Yeah. Not pairs.
Solitary.
Yes. Because we have only met Ohan. We know about the pairing when they get the whisperer virus inside them and they become this multiple entity in one body. Mm-hmm. However, this cyanot that they're talking with on the comms is using singular pronouns. I, not we. Very interesting. So they start kind of discussing it. The cyanot are happy to help them, but they find out that these are heretics. Yeah. That have cured themselves of the whisperer disease. And we are, Ashby tells Rosemary, tells the whole crew, don't tell Ohan about it. Ohan's going to be pissed. They don't like it. They don't like these heretics. And the fact that we're going to go there and we're going to get tech from them because we have to is going to make Ohan none too happy. Ohan, who's already sort of sick and not doing well because of the waning. Mm-hmm. Well, Rosemary, knows not to tell Ohan, but of course spills the beans because Ohan starts questioning her, and she's like, "Well, I'm not going to I can't keep up this lie. Ohan's on to us."
I do love, so Ashby, and I think it's just Ashby and Kizzy. Maybe I forget if Sissix is there. Take their shuttlecraft and they scoot over. They're just like, just having a pit stop. Nobody really think about it. But Ohan storms into Rosemary's clerk's zone. Yeah. Because they can just recognize this part of space. Just everybody is taught to know that this is a place you don't go. There's heretics there. They're going to poison your mind. And just that detail of the familiarity of space, they can navigate through the sublayer. Of course, they could look at just the jumble of loose stars and know where they're at. I thought that was another good grounding detail for what their capabilities are as this pair. And it's don't
tell them where we this is the 7-Eleven by my house. I know this. What are you talking about? Don't tell me where we are.
Exactly.
I'm looking out the window of the car, and that's the 7-Eleven by my house. That's the idea, I think.
But the storming in to talk to Rosemary, it's one of those things where you're like, oh, you're sort of feeling very passionately, very intense about this thing you're calling them heretics, it's like laced with that like religion, your full beliefs, but then it's also has that feeling of like sadness because Ohan has the waning, he's dying. Sorry, they're dying. And during this moment of intensity with Rosemary, they end up collapsing and like trying to cling to the side of the desk because their legs just stop working and Dr. Chef has to come carry them out. So they're feeling these very passionate feelings while their body is giving out from under them. It's just sort of this moment of intensity in the book that is, I think, well delivered.
Yeah, I agree. Ohan says, you can't go there. They will fill your head with lies. Ohan says, Rosemary replies, hey, Ohan, don't stress. No one on this ship will hurt you. To which Ohan says, well, you might not mean to, but you could.
Yeah.
So, yes, the next scene, Kizzy and Ashby are on their way to this planet called Arun, which is this rogue planet, and they meet with the Cyanot. They're greeting them, friendly, welcoming, but these Cyanot are old, right? We know that the Ohan and all of those who have the Whisperer virus, they get this waning pretty young. They have a short window of life where they can be useful, and then the waning, kills them, basically. But these Cyanot are old. They're like over 100 years old. They've lived. And they
believe that they have many more years left in their future.
Yeah.
The accepting that the waning will occur is sort of the price that they're willing to pay to be able to do the navigation stuff that they do, to be able to interact with the sublayer. And so Ashby and Kizzy on this planet seeing a bunch of I think at just like a very, for lack of a better word, very human level, very sapient level, they're like, wow, this is like a society of people who look happy and seem like they're having a great time.
Touching each other. Like,
yes.
Of course, Ohan there's no touching and very, keeps to themselves and doesn't, there's nothing, but this is a completely different kind of situation. We find out that there are some cyanots that resist the Whisperer virus, and they have been cured. They have been cured of the waning. They have been cured of the disease. And we've talked about this book as being cozy, which I think is a good descriptor. But even better than that, some folks on the YouTube, I noticed, pointed out that in Becky Chambers' Wikipedia page, she is referred to as a pioneer of the Hope Corps.
Hope Punk.
Hope Punk, thank you. Hope Punk, even better than Hope Corps.
Yeah.
Hope Punk, which I think is that's so cool. Such a cool subgenre. Hope Punk.
This world is fueled by the hope. It is what that says, and that's cool.
I do think that's cool. This, I feel, is the perfect example of Hope Punk, which is the sentence that the Cyanot tells them, which is, all diseases have cures. You just have to find them.
Yeah.
Thought that was, that's the kind of universe we're in this book is there's a solution. Everything's going to work out. You just got to work hard at it. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yes,
so this colony, they definitely have the parts. They're technically advanced, but as part of it, I forget the name of the person who's showing them around or getting to them to the
Moss.
The gear. Moss is there.
All of those cyanots now live Moss.
They do. They live Moss. They. I think she's talking about, like, it doesn't matter how close to the end of the waning they are, the cure will work. It's not easy. There's like a certain amount of pain to like get healed again from the Whisperer infection. But yeah, we have people who are carried through the front door because they can't move anymore. And even then it still works. She makes like no uncertain terms. This thing will work down to the last second. Interesting.
There's also this really cool idea of the high and low mind. The Sionites have this description of the high mind and the low mind. The low mind being sort of your basic sense of self, and the high mind being, or I guess, low mind is, feeding yourself, sort of the basic instincts that you have as a sentient creature. And then the high mind is, the layers of personality you put on top of that. And I thought that was really cool. Moss also describes the fact that, they had been basically describes Ohan's exact situation, which is working as a navigator on a ship. I was going to die. My crew didn't like that. My captain found a map to this place, brought me here, cured me. And, it's very much like, oh, well, maybe we should do that for our dying Sanat. But of course, as soon as they find some privacy, Ashby's like, don't even think about it, Kizzy. We're not doing that. It's not what Ohan wants. It's not our place to do that. Don't even think about it. Then we immediately cut to Ohan saying, no, I do not want that. They have presented the idea to Ohan. Ohan is like, no. Dr. Chef is like, but I looked at it. It's totally safe, which is very funny that you would like in 15 minutes be able to be like, yeah, it looks great. No possible repercussions.
Speaking of not gatekeeping, I do love that they're like, yeah, we have the cure, but it's not like, but you have to be here. They're like, here it is. Take a syringe.
You're so right, dude. Like literally next scene is like, and we got some. They just handed it to us. Yeah. So, Ohan is saying, I do not want this. Ohan says they take the Whisperer's gifts, then kill it.
Oh, that's the other thing that they make very clear on the planet is once you no longer have the Whisperer, it doesn't stop you from having all the gifts of navigation.
No downsides.
No downsides. The people who have the Whisperer and, endure the waning have sort of it is framed sort of religiously of like the Whisperer is granting them gifts. They have to preserve that and respect that. And it is what it is, full stop. And so the heretics are the people who are like, we still got gifts, but we're also not dying. And that's sort of like the two sides of the relationship, where Ohan's religious beliefs are the thing that would prevent them from engaging with this magical serum.
And so all of the crew are like, hey, but Ohan, there's literally no downside. It's not going to kill you not to have the Whisperer. And Ohan says, well, it will, because I will be somebody else. I will be, or I guess we will be somebody else.
Yeah.
So there you go. But Sizzix is mad at Ashby for not just doing it. Sizzix says, you got to, Ohan is dying. You got to do this for them. Ashby says, it's not my place. Can't do it. Ohan has to want it. By the way, if you're mad at me, I could be mad at you for getting it on with another crew member. And Sizzix is like, you know about that? Oops. Oops.
I thought we were so coy. He's like, well, I did tell Rosemary to Google you, so I gave her the nudge to do the internet sleuthing about you, and here matchmaker, call me matchmaker.
He throws in her face that her species has this saying about letting each person follow their own path. And Sizzix is like, well, that's different, though. If you're not hurting yourself or anybody, but Ohan's going to die from this. Also, he says, I know that you and Rose are stooping. Don't hurt her. Humans handle that differently. And he also says, I wish I could have been the one to pet your feathers and make you feel like a family, like a real reptile family.
Yeah.
So there you go. The chapter ends with an ominous message that we get a little error at the top. I don't know if you saw that. The error of like, not received. Did not receive the crucial information that would have prevented the bad thing from happening. That crucial piece of information. It's nib who responds to Rosemary's request for a volunteer information and then says, BT Dubs, I got some hot goss about that alien species you're about to meet. Turns out they have incredible hearing. So seriously, do not talk around them. Like, seriously, not even wispies. Like, no, don't talk. The whole Galactic Commons has issued a warning. No whispering around the Toramai. They will hear you. Anyway, hope you get this message. Bye. And then, of course, she doesn't get the message.
I will not be following up. Thank you.
What's the worst that can happen? Bye. So, some foreboding there. Some foreshadowing. All right, next chapter is called Hedraka. We have arrived at Hedraka. However, before that, we get a new POV character, one of the Toremi. Taum is a very angry Toremi, not happy. Hates other species, just doesn't like the cut of their jibs.
It does feel like it's presented as though like this is the standard. I mean, to some degree, it's the standard because we know that they're culturally must have the same thoughts.
That's right.
Yeah.
No diversity allowed in thinking, and certainly that would, I think, translate into no diversity of, tolerance in other species as well. Mm-hmm. And certainly that's what is expressed inside Taum's mind. Not happy, doesn't like it. We have another character, Hiul, Hiul, who is a first unit striker, joins Taum. Taum does not like Hiul either. She thinks she's chaos. And they get into this confrontation where there's like, I'm like, should I kill you? Because we don't agree on something? I'm going to bite your neck. Oh, I can't quite do it. Can't quite bite your neck.
Very dramatic sort of positioning of like, not only are their thoughts like violent because their society is based in, you wanted a latte and I wanted a cappuccino. And we all know lattes is the way of the people. Slice. That just seems like,
yeah.
I mean, even through, Taum's inner monologue, that is the way that it's been. I've killed for less, they say. But how quickly they move. And, we don't really get them described in this moment. It's just, they're not going to sit there and describe what their body looks like. That would be odd. But they're just interacting as they normally do. But in a flash, it's like, my teeth were around their throat and I should have bit them and I should have killed them, but I didn't. And that is where we leave it. It's like there's an internal violence and a sharp expression of violence outwards as well. That is very different than the species that we've encountered before. Even when we had the lobster centaurs smashing up Corbin, that was like very physical and it didn't feel like as sharp or as lethal as this little boy did.
Yes. And Hiul says, hey, why are you pissed? You got your own ship. Foreshadowing. And she also says, we are never a clan of one. I thought that was a cool line.
Yeah.
So there's much disagreement there. We pop back over to Ashby and the crew who are going through all these jumps, who have just gone through all these jumps, arrive at Hedraka. There's ships everywhere. This is the new sort of frontier. It feels very much like the gold rush. It's all the covered wagons are huddled around the outpost in the wilderness, and that's what it feels like here. We got all these ships sort of staking their claim to these new resources that are available because the Toremi have entered the Galactic Commons.
Well, all these ships prepared to do that. And as will be talked later, I think they've talked about it on their own ship prior to this, but it feels like all these ships are so eager to, welcome the Toremi into the Galactic Commons so that they have access to resources that were previously just in a war zone.
Right. Yeah. And maybe doing it a little too quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Taum is meditating. There's this other character, Foal. He keeps thinking, I should have killed Hiul.
Trying to meditate. So the internal dialogue of Tome is that they don't feel like they're in alignment. I did think that this was interesting because, we read the sort of email segments or the Google segments from that Rosemary has been searching over the course of their journey as the clerk and just trying to be informed about where they're going. And we got some excerpt from something earlier that was talked about the Toremi as though there is some kind of hive mind. And being part of it, it's not hey, it's mandatory, everybody listen to new mothers. There's not actually a psychic connection there. It is a cultural opting into thinking the same way and sort of a vulnerability with thoughts to admit when you aren't thinking that way, knowing that you might, I guess, get eviscerated by the people around you. So the sort of internal drama that we're experiencing from this person trying to meditate, they are feeling unrest that puts them sort of out of alignment with the core thoughts of like their faction of the Toremi.
Well said. The line that I wrote down is the stronger idea survives.
Yes.
Which I thought was cool. I think it's a fun play on the notion of the
meritocracy.
What meritocracy?
Yeah.
Well, no, I was thinking more like, there's always the sci-fi species that, is the Klingon or is the, it's the orcs in fantasy or whatever. It's always the like, the strongest survives. Here it's like the strongest idea survives, which I think is an interesting twist on that. So they are escorting the new mother to this meeting. And then we cut over to the reception. Rosemary's POV, the crew is at the reception. Kizzy is like, you should come to my dad's. Come to my dad's for when we're on our break after this job is done. We get some sweet vacation. Come and hang out with my dads. They're awesome. They love you. They would be great. Mm-hmm. So Rosemary's like, okay, I'll go
hang on wherever that is.
yeah. Hang out with your dads. That sounds great. But the Toremi walk in the room. They are armed. They have weapons. They are, they're showing this military presence. And immediately Rosemary's like, oh, I know where they got those weapons. I know who sold them their weapons.
Those guns are from my dad's personal collection. I also like, the Toremi show up, and in the scene where it was the Toremi talking with one another. One of the quick details I liked about that was the fact that we see what a disagreement looked like. It wasn't just immediately eviscerated, but he had to Tome had to sort of admit that he was out of alignment, and the new mother was like, well, think about what your thoughts are and then come on back, and later we'll decide if you need to die was what it felt like. But it's like, really think about if you want to think differently, and if you do, we'll kill you. That's fine. That's the way that it is.
Just assess the whether what you think is worth dying for. That's all we have to decide. Yeah.
And then he ends up asking, like, oh, we're going to go to the banquet, basically. Did we get invited over there? Like, did they want us? And she's like, this is my space. This is my ships. I don't need to be invited to see the people who are trying to assess us right now. That's my right to go do that. So when they show up at this party, Rosemary and folks, they get the vibe that they were not invited. They were not anticipated to be there, which is like the only sort of little thing that I feel like no matter what, one of the little bits I'm frustrated at it. I know it's like, it's cozy, it's low drama, but you'd think that somebody would have briefed everybody on the hearing of the Toremi. Is that like, if it was something that they put out as like a missive that everybody knows, that it wasn't like a private thing that Nib hacked to get that intel about their hearing. I just feel like everybody would have been briefed about that very important detail at a sensitive time.
It's literally a galactic commons advisory. Like, don't invite them on your ship. You know what we should do? Let's invite them on the ship. That feels like, part of the work order is, BT dubs, when you arrive, there may be some temptation to invite them on the ship. Don't. We've been telling everybody.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. They didn't invite them on the ship, but I would think that no matter what, they'd be like, FYI, we're in sensitive debates right now, trying to have the inaugural champagne bottle smashed against the the planet of resources that we want to steal. No, everybody don't be talking.
Yeah,
I feel like that would be the word.
Yeah. Mm. Well, turns out they do talk. And Tomb hears their doubts, hears that the fact that they have, they are not of one mind. This
the table setting for it is like, it's not that he just hears them. They are like way, 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 way across the room that they're in on this spacecraft. It's Kizzy and Sissix, and not Sissix. Who's the other person? It's Kizzy, Rosemary, and Jenks. I forget who the three people are that they're gabbing together. But
I thought it was Sissix, but yeah.
It might be, maybe it is Sissix. But they're over there, like over by a window. Like if you're at a gala and there's a buffet and there's all these people, all the new delegates are there, I wouldn't expect it to be like, I heard they gave a speech the other day that was crazy. If I muttered that to my friend, I wouldn't expect somebody 200 feet away to hear me. And so that's the dynamic of they're at the window. And it's really Rosemary in her feelings about like what her dad has done and being consoled about it. And like very personal, very private feeling conversation that happens to be dredged up because of the circumstances, and mostly just being like, here's my hot takes about whatever. It's fine. It is what it is. We're going to punch it home. And then I don't have to think about this again. And it's their like private, very small slice of a conversation that the Turemi overhear. And that because there is dissonance between what the delegates are saying from the Galactic Commons, they're like, we already know that humans or other sapiens have to force themselves to try and think alike. But hearing so raw the disagreement, it like, no, we're done here. We can't we can't be having this interaction.
Yeah. And Tomb like agrees with their doubts. Like he's like, yes, they're right that this we shouldn't be partnering with these people, these new species. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyway, so we get a scene where Ashby sees the Turemi ship approaching. This lone ship is like, well, we'll do one last punch with Ohan. Hope this is going to be the last one. And then all of a sudden, they're hit with an energy blast. Bum, bum, bum. End of chapter.
Yeah. But the thing that happened, the last little detail about this that happened pretty quickly is they kept talking about like, oh, I can't wait to punch it. And I'm like, didn't you just get out of the sub-layer and you're exhausted? But it was a long trip there. But the whole point is that when they punch it home, a place that they know, so it's not a blind punch. They're familiar with that space. They can punch it all the way back. And that was the whole mission, was to be able to make a really fast channel for other people to get to. So they're putzing out there to make the freeway for everybody else. And so they're about to do the last cut for that freeway home.
That's right. Do the thing that they came for, that they drove all that way for. Yeah.
She got zapped.
But they get zapped. And then we cut to the next chapter called 7 Hours. And this is, I would say, the most action-y moment of the entire novel, where we get this chaos that's happening, where they've been hit by this, it was like right at the moment where they were doing that punch, they get hit by the energy blast, the systems are fried. We're cutting back and forth between Sizzix trying to pilot through the sublayer, Ohan calling out directions to try to navigate and not get lost in there.
While their body is giving out from underneath them.
Yeah. Kizzy and Jenks kind of trying to repair things on the fly. And, it's a pretty cool, Star Trekian action-y moment of, engine room dealing with the logistics of fixing stuff, the bridge, piloting the thing. I found the scene pretty good. I wish it was longer, frankly. It kind of goes by quick.
It's funny to be in this cozy book, and like all these characters are well written and there's interesting scenarios, and the point of it being that it's generally chill, but then the action being like so good. I'm like, oh, give me more. This is so great. And like one of the core dramas is that basically all the systems are down, and all the systems are down, meaning Lovey, their AI is down. So not only do they have to do all these things kind of manually and blind, which we get little spikes of teeing that up earlier with Kizzy not using the bots just in case nobody has a free hand to do things, and
Right.
Sissix manually driving the ship back to her home planet. We have these little people have been doing things manually just in case kind of the whole time.
Right.
And now they have to use all of those things. And Rosemary, who's super new to the ship and gets space sick, is like through the jangliness of the sub layer running messages back and forth and trying to make sure everything goes on time. So it's very literally all hands on deck, baby. We got to get through this thing in a manual way together.
Yeah. Dr. Chef has to stick Ohan with adrenaline. And in that moment, I was like, is he curing him right now? Or them curing them?
Yeah.
But no, it's just like this adrenaline shot to keep Ohan from passing out from the waning in this, in the chaos of them trying to navigate through, the sublayer. Pretty cool stuff. Kizzy gives a pretty awesome pep talk to Rosemary about, and then all of a sudden it's just like, we're all okay. Everything's fine. We're okay. We did it. We managed it. And I was like, oh, okay. All right. We did it.
They make it through. Ohan barely, he gives the directions that he gives. Is one of the interesting things about the book is the way that he gives directions as the navigator to 6-6. The pilot is like, like it sounds like he's saying a math equation out loud. And then ends with like left. And you're like, okay. And in this case, they're like spitting out back home to a known location. But because of everything, he like passes out before like the one final directional detail that could shoot them into a planet or another space and time or like whatever it is, but manages to like get the heart rate up again for the one last second to give the correct direction. And their ship is heavily damaged when they get to the other side, which you're like, oh, but everybody's okay. The ship's the only part that's damaged.
Yeah, well, you have Jenks calling out, Kizzy, come in here, Kizzy.
Oh, yeah.
And we find out that Lovey is in trouble. So the next chapter is called Hard Reset. We find out that Jenks has been patching in to Lovey with this thing called a slap patch, which is like this kind of dangerous way of interacting with the AI. That Lovey has been heavily damaged. The ship was hit with this energy weapon. And we have, I really enjoyed the way this was expressed narratively, where we have this dialogue sequence between Jenks and Lovey is like disoriented, almost like suffering dementia or something, just completely out of sorts and confused. And Jenks, of course, very concerned about that. I thought that landed in a really beautiful way. And then Sissix explains that this is a cascade failure, and they can get repair help, but Jenks has refused to allow outsiders to come on and try to repair the ship because they will, clumsily just reset Lovey or not take care of Lovey, or just kind of like fix the ship in a cold and callous way that doesn't respect the fact that this autonomous being is, this AI is alive and cared for as a valued member of the crew.
Yeah, one of the things I really liked about this being sort of the turn, because Ohan is so sick the whole time, you're like, oh, this is Ohan's last voyage. You get the sense that there might be something dramatic, like a loss of one of the crew, but positioning it this way where it's Lovey that is at risk is such a beautiful tie-in with the whole thematic of like, oh, they got through the other side. Everybody was fine except the ship was damaged. It's like, but the ship is a character. Yeah. The ship is a sentience in this book.
A crew member, or equal value. Yeah.
And for anybody who would be engaging in it, being like, oh, it's so silly that Jenks waits at the robot that's telling them the time, or like whatever little thing that it is, it's sort of emphasizing that feeling that it must be in that society of people who are like, yeah, AIs are AIs. They're fake. They're not real things. And people like Jenks who think they are very real, and putting it through drama like there's like a life that's threatened and is going to die aboard this ship. It really puts you as the reader experiencing that question and that world in like as close to firsthand kind of way as I think you could. It's very effective in sort of speaking on that greater theme through this book.
Yeah. Asking you to sort of care.
Yes. Yeah.
We have Pepper, our old friend Pepper, comes back aboard to assist with this because we don't respect the sort of just repairman that we could have gotten, the outside help, but Pepper is a trusted friend, comes aboard. Ashby doesn't understand why they were fired on, and they get this news report of this rogue Toremi. And we find out that the council, this parliament, the Galactic Commons, wants to interview Ashby and find out what's happened. And we're back to Lovey being disoriented, talking to Jenks, and Kizzy explains to Ashby that they've kind of run out of options in, salvaging her and fixing her. But there is one last resort that they can rely on, and that is a hard reset. So the hard reset is this sort of 50-50 chance where we control alt delete. We turn it off, wait 10 seconds, turn it back on.
Hold that power button down, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what will happen, I thought this was cool the way it was described, was what will happen is there'll be a sort of a fresh build of Lovelace, the AI, that comes online, and she will have all her old sort of memory files, her old personality available to her, and she will do one of two things that can't be predicted. One of them would be to reincorporate that personality into her systems and be the Lovey that we all remember. Or she could look at that and go, oh, old garbage files. Let me delete.
Let me empty the recycle bin.
That's right. That's right. So it's a sort of, there's no way to predict it. There's no way to guide it. There's no way to force one of those two options. They just have to hope. A 50-50 shot. So Ashby thinks back and is like, oh man, did I treat the AI like not a person? Am I the jerk? Have I been the jerk here? Best boss ever. And he realizes that Jenks, is in love with this thing. And Rosemary's like, why are you even worrying about that? It doesn't seem like something a captain would worry about. And he says, I worry about more than just captain things. It's like, best boss ever. World's best boss mug for you.
But then there's like the turn here, I feel like was pretty quick and then we had drama happening off screen. We do the hard reset, and it's it's sort of sweet and soft, and like through Jenks's eyes, where the way that he describes Lovey and her core, and like the soft, warm glow of that, and the sunshine, and leaning against that, and talking to her. Oh,
even before that, though, he asks her if she wants him to. Like, he leaves it up to her whether she wants the hard reset or not. And she says, "Oh yes, of course. I want. Yeah, anything that I don't want to feel like this anymore." I mean, it feels very. I think the analog is euthanasia or some kind of extreme treatment for a debilitating disease, and she reveals, that she's kept files of every interaction that she's had with him since the moment she got turned on. And he said, I loved you from the word go. I loved you from when you installed me. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to. I just want to get that point in because I thought that was a beautiful moment where she's basically, he's like, well, but did you keep records for everybody else, just me? She's like, well, just you. So why just me? Well, it's because I wanted a record of every moment I talked to you from the moment I fell in love with you, which was the moment
you installed me.
Install, yeah.
It was very sweet and very sad.
Yeah.
So Jenks sort of, they do the hard reset. They're all waiting. It's like a 10-minute thing where they have to wait for the reset to come through.
Yeah.
And then the
It's always hard to
turning
install
on.
a new copy of Windows. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. Let me tell you, I've been blue screening. Him going up to the core and being like, Lovey, you there? And she's like, hi, I'm Lovelace, your new computer. And that
Nice to meet you.
It ends pretty dramatically in that moment.
Yeah.
But then we get a bunch of drama off screen. I think we see it from like a Rosemary chatting with Ashby, but like apparently in that moment, Jenks pieces out and basically runs into an escape pod and just jettisons himself from the ship immediately. Yeah. Very extreme reaction.
Yeah.
The crew
in this cozy book where everything seems to work out okay. We finally arrive at this place where there are real consequences.
Yeah. But they're very real consequences that we sort of hear about happening, but don't really experience firsthand. So Jenks ejects himself from the ship in an escape pod. The other chunk of the crew has to go take a shuttle and go chase him down and try and tow him back to the ship. And there's other simultaneous action that I'll go back to you with the guide.
This is a new chapter called Staying Leaving. So everything you've described, but we're getting that, as you said, sort of described off screen, but what we see is Corbin entering Ohan's room. And
I loved this.
Did you?
I did.
This is the stuff I wanted to talk about most, honestly. Tell me what you loved about it.
What I loved about it is that you have this sort of unscrupulous person who has not been good, who, had their own rescued from, we'll call it a near-death experience, but certainly like a life-threatening experience, traumatic experience, who I think has a priority to the ship and the job and sort of vested self-interest that I think no matter what, even with what he'd been through, like his baseline of being like, I'll do what needs to be done. The only thing that he felt that needed to be done is algae up to this point.
Right.
And so his reasonings for doing what he does, which is injecting Ohan with the cure against Ohan's will, is, I think it's portrayed as like a niceness to like the crew and being like, I gotta save somebody, which I guess is good. It's like Corbin ain't all bad is kind of the undercurrent there, but it kind of is that he is not all bad, but he's doing it for selfish reasons. He's still true to his character in that it's like an incredibly selfish thing to make this choice against somebody's will, no matter what. Somebody's body is their own. That that's their beliefs. That's what they're doing. Like, that's sad and feels very tragic, especially if you're like, it doesn't have to be this way, but it's Ohan's choice. But it's a selfish act, which is in line with Corbin's character, to do it and even think that is for the best. Yeah. And so I think, and him mathing it out of like, they can't fire me because Sissix, they're not going to fire Sissix, and Sissix is my legal guardian for at least a year. So I'll do it. And I like it because it makes sense for what he would do for self-preservation, even if it's not presented as self-preservation. It is presented as though he's doing a great kindness to Ohan, which isn't true.
Right.
What did you think about
interesting. It? Well, I felt it was a huge transgression and really an act of violence, right? It is especially juxtaposed to the literal previous moment of Jenks honoring Lovelace by asking it whether it wanted to be reset or not. Like, we have literally both sides of this coin. We have like honor the autonomy of the being and let it decide its own fate. And then we have steal the autonomy away and do this very transgressive thing, this very violent act of, no, you don't get your autonomy. I decide what your fate is. And so sort of narratively and structurally and thematically, I thought that juxtaposition was really could have been even more powerful. Like it works on a certain level, but there is a framing here. Corbin says, I won't let anyone else die today, which I think is a framing of like a heroic act. And there's just nothing heroic about this from my perspective as a reader.
Which I agree. That's the part that I'm like, Corbin thinks this is a heroic thing, but it is it's ultimately incredibly selfish. I like it because it is a transgression, I guess is what I'm saying. I'm not like, I'm so glad he did that. Right. And then, you know, the argument can be made that Ohan later like smiles and you're like, oh, I guess they love it too.
Well, that's the problem is I wish there was more fallout to this. I just wanted it. I wanted it. I agree with everything you said. And I think the novel gets to this place of it feeling like this incredibly, what's the word I want? In sort of this branching moment, this really impactful moment in the lives of these people, and then there's just like kind of no follow up to it. It's just kind of okay at that point, and later on we just see Ohan like, oh hey, well I'll stay with you guys because I love you guys and everything's great, and it's just like
I'm excited to eat dinner, and that's the part that I'm bummed out by, because even when that happened, I was like, oh, because somebody in the comments somewhere was like, book 2 of this series is the best one in the series. And I was like, maybe this is the tee up to book 2, that we have this crew and there's still cozy things, but we have this longer beat of Ohan either like coming around to being like, hey, I don't respect that you didn't respect me, but now that I am here, like I'm happy with this thing. Like you can see somebody coming to terms with that over time, but he comes to terms with it instantly.
Yeah. Well, that's how everything is in this book, is that it's kind of, there's no, you know, there are quick resolutions to things, which has worked and can work. But I just felt like this one was such a major act of violence, really.
Yeah.
And you could play, and we get it from Corbin's POV. And I thought it was effective that for him, it feels like a heroic thing, but like we don't get anybody else's opinion about it, really. There's no
Ashby
fallout.
Saying he's pissed.
Yeah. But and Corbin being like, well, you can't fire me. What are you going to do? And it's like, well, okay, but that is
we could
so
send you back
beyond
to
the
jail,
pale.
which now maybe you deserve.
Yeah.
Like that's
right. Now you've actually done something that is,
He's like, you can't fire me, you'd fire Sissix. She's my guardian. It's like, or she could disown you as a guardian and send you back to prison.
Yeah.
For like,
I don't know,
assaulting somebody's autonomy.
Yeah. It's a big concept. It's a big, heavy moral dilemma that the book approaches, but I don't think reckons with sufficiently for me.
Because it also comes down to like you're considering the belief of the Cyanat. Is the Whisperer a god helping them that they have to respect? Because like that's, I think, one of the lines that it's sort of drawing. It's like their religious beliefs is not the religious beliefs of everybody in the galaxy. And so if you think that this is like an infection, like a cold, something that they have that can cure it, and they still have all these gifts, why wouldn't you save them? Isn't it a medical doctor to like do no harm? Would a medical doctor let somebody who has a cold die from a cold because they thought a cold was their god? I don't know if they would. Maybe they would, though. It's kind of that person's choice. It's like there's like a lot of questions that swirl around it. Well, that I wish we could examine more.
I mean, I don't want to get too whatever, but and again, knowing this book was written in like 2012, 2014, world's a different place back then, but you kind of can't ignore that we're talking about a creature whose sort of central, notion is that they use different pronouns, and their sense of sort of gender fluidity. And it's just kind of hard not to read this as sort of transcoded, and like the fact that this outside person decides you don't get to be the person that you want to be inside. I am separating that pronoun from your lexicon because now I'm going to inject you with something that's going to change you back to the way you don't want to be anymore. Like, it's kind of hard not to read that in it because it's there, right? It's all there. And maybe it wasn't intended to be as hot buttony in 2014 as it is in 2026, but reading it now, you just kind of can't ignore those themes. And so that feels like, well, we've stepped into something that is really heavy and really a moral quandary here for these characters. And then the book's just sort of over. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're right. Like, maybe it's a thing that is picked up later in the series, but I don't know if you heard this, but I heard that the second book has completely different characters.
Really?
And I think based on the ending of this book, I think it's like Pepper and Lovey. I'm just guessing. I don't know that. But like Pepper, we have this setup of like Pepper going, "Hey, Lovey, you don't want to come with me on some adventures?" And it's like, maybe that's where book 2 is.
Yeah, we didn't. So to sort of finish out the book, this is like the big thing that happens, and the book ends pretty quickly after that. But Ohan pulls up a chair to dinner, I think. Oh, that happens a little bit later. They have this drama.
Yeah, that's the final chapter.
Ohan is basically brought to medical, screaming. Ashby's pissed, and Corbin's like, "What?" We have the crew getting Jenks back on the ship, and we get some Lovelace POV, who still seems like the same very charismatic, personable AI that she was before, but with none of those memories built in. So she can see everybody and she can read the room. She can see that Jenks is really upset. She can sense that something's bad. And so she's like, I'm going to wait till somebody talks to me about what's going on. I'm not going to engage. And then the person who sort of engages with her and gives her the download on what's up is Pepper, to be like, hey, just FYI, Jenks and Lovelace, because she can sort of see all, can go in and see that Jenks is, still basically been inconsolably crying in a room for like days on end, basically, like zooms in on his face and is like, oh, he looks really unhappy. Yeah. Pepper gives this offering of like, here's the history. This is why this is happening. Sorry, nobody's talked to you. Jenks, because he was in love with Lovey, bought this body kit that's just sitting around now. I'm giving you the option you can stay in this ship knowing that it's going to be painful, that you're probably going to experience pain, even though you aren't
for
aware.
Literally everybody.
Yeah. Or you can let me put your brain in a body and hang out at the shop. And Lovelace makes the choice, like, yeah, I'm going with you, girl.
I like how first of all, I love that it's Pepper that's doing this. That was really great, where it's like, Pepper's like, listen, everybody's really messed
in a
up
way.
Right now.
Yeah.
I need to talk to you. Like, like I'm the only one that's kind of not completely crushed right in this moment. And she's like, so everybody is, thinks, it's you being here is bad for pretty much everybody's morale. And Lovelace is like, oh, so you want me to delete myself? And Pepper's like, whoa, no. Whoa, no. Oh, sorry. No. I got this body though.
Yeah. I forgot about her being like, I guess I'll die.
Pepper's like, oh, no, sorry. No, I should have, I buried the lead. And,
I've got illegal things we could do together.
Yeah. And it's cool. And Lovelace is like, aren't you worried about getting caught? And Pepper's like, listen, the number of things that I do that are illegal, like, this is low on the list. And so Lovelace is like, yeah, okay. She like zooms in on Jenks. She's like, okay, let's do it. She's like, yeah, you can come live with me on Port Coriol and we'll have adventures. So that's where, I don't know if that's the hook for a subsequent book, but it feels like the hook for something.
It does.
To me. Then we have, just sort of cleaning up. We have this meeting that Ashby goes to Parliament, goes to this committee. The chapter's called The Committee. And the committee basically kind of just asks him, kind of almost accusing him, like, did you do anything wrong? Did anybody cause anything? Did anybody on your ship cause anything, this attack to happen? What did you guys do? And Ashby's like, no. And they're like, okay. He's like, well, hey, what, kind of lays into them of like, where do you guys get off sending us here unprepared into a war zone. Your policies are what caused this. And they're like, we sent the email. I don't understand. Did you guys not get it? No, don't say that.
Yeah, the committee is basically grilling them on information Ashby's already given them. And they basically keep being like, are you sure though?
Yeah. But
which
you
I'm
didn't
like,
say anything? Like anything?
Because even in this committee meeting, this drives me crazy. Even in this committee meeting, nobody's like, now let me give you a download. The Toremi can hear so good.
Yeah.
And I'll ask you one more time. Are you sure you didn't hear it? But that's never brought up. It's only brought up in that one email.
Yeah.
And so it feels like they're trying to like squeeze Ashby. And he's like, what? We're a civilian ship. What do you want us to do? And so he kind of lays into them about like the sort of same kind of things Roman's doing is, you were prepared to send us in this war zone. Why would you be trying to bring this group that's clearly can be this violent at like a second's notice? Like, this seems like dangerous and bad for the Galactic Commons in general, and all because you want their resources, you hungry hippos, basically.
Yeah.
And then
I love the real inciting incident for him to sort of turn on them and lay it all out is them being like, so were there any casualties on your ship? He's like, well, we lost our AI. And they're like, oh, okay, well, at least no one was hurt. And he's like, oh, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. Anyway, so he's dismissed, and we get a news report that he actually did impact the committee, and they are dissolving their alliance with the Toremi, which is another one where I was like, oh man, I don't know if as a reader that's a satisfying conclusion for me. Like that feels like, oh, we should just let the warring people be at civil war and hole up in their side of the galaxy and not try to. I mean, I understand that it's positioned as this was just a sort of a land grab for resources, and it was all based on greed from the Galactic Commons perspective, but also like the result is, oh, we just won't be friendly with those people that we had a chance to forge an alliance with. Like the alliance feels like a valuable thing that is lost here, and there's not much reckoning with that from my perspective.
Yeah, the flip side of that being like, hey, don't try to control cultures. It's not yours. This is
that's true too.
The way of their peeps. This is how their society is, and it's violent, and it feels alien to you. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to insert yourself into the space. So,
good point.
Yeah,
good point. All right, so the final chapter is all said and done. It's kind of our denouement chapter. Ashby gets a package from Pei, who says, I'm sick of worrying about you. I'm coming to visit. So Ashby's happy. Kizzy has taken up knitting. Jenks gives her a friend gift of some shrimp spice because they're besties. Thank you for being a friend. And literally says, Kizzy says, I've always wanted a brother. You know, this is what it's like to have a brother. You're my brother, bro. Beautiful. Ashby and Dr. Chef, we kind of just have this on Everybody's Okay. We have a new AI on the ship called Tycho. And Ohan, as we said, is now a solitary and is like hanging out with Corbin and is kind of okay with hanging out with Corbin for some reason. Wants to stay on the ship. So Dr. Chef cooks him a meal. Ohan is now a solitary.
Even though it might make him sick because he's only been eating mush.
Yeah. And then we have,
and that's when Ohan is like, I would love to eat a meal. And Dr. Chef gets so excited, pulls up his special chair that he's always set out. And Ohan smiles for like the first time. So you're like, it's one of those things that's like, oh, it really was just a disease and not it's like,
and it was the right thing for that to happen. It's like, oh man, that didn't feel right to me, but and then we end the novel with Rosemary and Syzyx kind of going on an anti-grav walk together, happy exactly where Rosemary wanted to be.
Home, baby.
Home. So that's our novel. That's a long way to a small angry planet. Like I said, some of the beats at the end didn't play for me completely satisfying, and I think throughout the novel, as we said, these crises get introduced and get resolved really quickly to a point where I felt like there could have been more drama. If this stuff kind of was if the tension was held a little longer.
There's so many interesting meaty concepts that I wanted to sink my teeth into a little bit more.
Yes. But I do think I really enjoyed the novel for everything else about it, which is it really is wonderful world building. The characters are delightful. I liked hanging out with them, liked hanging out on this ship, and their adventure. I just wanted their adventure to be a little more high stakes. Yeah. Just moment to moment, but it's a very fun, easy to recommend novel from my perspective, and I'm glad we read it. I wouldn't have, other than Mr. Erickson's recommendation and everybody's vote, all the patrons' vote. So thank you, patrons, for that.
Agreed.
All right, I think I have one last little quote.
I've got two.
Awesome.
I have one that is from. I want to make sure we don't have the same quote, so I don't take yours. One is Rosemary at the window, the spicy things she's saying that set off the Teremi Ka.
No, I don't have that one. No.
Nobody was paying attention to the three spacers at the window, so she spoke in a hush. It makes me angry, and not only because of my father. He did what he did because he wanted Ambi. It was greedy and immoral, and everyone hates him for it. I hate him for it. But the GC is doing the same thing. They've got treaties and ambassadors and buffet lunches, and it all seems so civilized and diplomatic, but it's the same damn thing. We don't care about these people or how we affect their history. We just want their stuff. She shook her head hard. We shouldn't be here. Dr. Chef squeezed her shoulder. I've been feeling much the same about this myself. But every sapient species has a long, messy history of powers that rise and fall. The people we remember are the ones who decided how our map should be drawn. Nobody remembers who built the roads.
Well, I was wrong. That was the quote I pitched. But no, that's a great one. It's great. And it's true, obviously we're recording this on March 12th, 2026, where, literally the government of the United States is doing this exact thing right now in Iran. We don't care about these people or how we affect their history. We just want their stuff. I mean,
yep.
Tale as old as time.
Unfortunately.
I thought that was well said and well read. So, yeah.
I got one more little one from Jenk's perspective during a hard reset. Jenks knew a thing or two about time. It was hard to be a tunneler and not pick up some of the basics. Time was a malleable thing, not the measured click that clocks would have you believe. Whenever the ship punched, Ohan had to be sure they came back out in the right time, as if it were all mapped out backward and forward and side to side, an infinite number of stories that had already been written. Time could crawl. It could fly. It could amble. Time was a slippery thing. It couldn't be defined. And yet somehow he knew with absolute certainty that this was the longest 10 minutes of his life.
That's so good. I like describing time as a slippery thing. That's great. Great. Fun. Well, that is that novel. I'm not sure what we're doing next. We will figure that out. And as I said, I have reached out to Becky Chambers' people, and hopefully that will come to fruition and we get a chance to talk to her. I'd love a chance to do that. So stick with us. Keep sending non-spoiler topics. And hey, send us ideas for books to read next, or we'll figure out what we're going to do, where we're headed. In the meantime, folks, no episode next week. So I guess that means extra time to dance.
When the world's too dark of a place to be, and you need an escape from reality, open up those pages, it's sci-fi or fantasy, whatever genre you please. And join a book club, 'cause you won't really It's just a means to an end, but you're doing it with your